Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in again to the AVIT Amplifier. As always, my name is Ryan Gray, and I am your host. And today we come to you in gorgeous HD from the top of the HETMA booth 4887 at InfoComm. And if things seem quiet and more subdued than normal, well, that's normal because it is 8:17 in the morning, meaning there are 43 minutes left until the show floor opens. So everybody's milling around, buzzing around, doing the last minute things that have to be done to open their booths. And it means that all the things you thought you were prepared with and were taken care of, you remember all the last minute things. So our team is out taking care of all sorts of stuff, but the fun part is to kind of be able to walk around the show floor before things are open and see people. The trade shows are just like other AV events. Sometimes you're fixing stuff at the last second and trying to remain calm doing it. And so that part's always fun to do. So this morning we've got a gray matter moment for you, and for this show, obviously the topic is trade shows and where we're at with trade shows at this place in time. And if you listen to how Avixa, let's start with InfoComm in particular, how they talk about InfoComm as a trade show, they're focusing far more these days on the education sessions and the ability to network with people, almost more so than being exposed to the technology in the booths. I think, there's so much communication available about what companies are up to these days. And, the thing about InfoComm used to be, this is when you made your big new product rollouts. And we've seen that just decline over time. And I don't think it's not as much to do with, the value of the show as it is when people's attention are taken up with a lot of things, like during InfoComm, it's harder to break through if you have something you really want everybody to know about. And companies do such a good job of building their own communication base and having rollout plans and things like that they're less dependent upon having a time when the industry's gathered to get everybody's attention. So we've over time seen this, this idea of InfoComm, being a trade show with some conference aspects to it, to really where the things that make most conferences worthwhile, some of the things that are there, which is the ability to connect with other peers and to learn from each other, is really being pushed forward as part of the value for InfoComm. And I think one of the reasons that we've seen the growth of end user attendees goes along with that, and it goes a long way. I've heard from a number of companies that talk about, there's the numbers and rumors that of what it actually costs per square foot to have space on the InfoComm show floor, varies widely, but suffice to say, it's not cheap or easy to have space on this show floor. But that, especially the big ones, they just simply, it costs so much to have the space and to make the booths and to get everybody out here. It's a huge expense, and they meet with so many people and there's so many contacts that it's just impossible to calculate if there's a true dollar for dollar ROI. But that part of the significance of having a booth and having a big presence may actually on the show floor is actually less about that you're going to drive enough business out of contacts made that that it pays for itself, but that it has to do with your perception of standing in the industry. It's a symbolic thing. So one of the reasons that some companies will go real big, I mean, let's be honest, right? Crestron, especially with Extron having left InfoComm years ago and no indication that they'll ever come back. Crestron makes sure they've got a big booth, if not the biggest, and in one of the prime locations that everybody has to walk by, and that the value of that is likely more in the perception that they are a leader of the industry rather than specifically, the business that they're going to drive from conversations that happen in that booth. And so that sort of move of the trade show floor from being at one point how you learned about new things coming out. Like that's how it used to work. You wandered the show floor and checked out booths to find something that was brand new. From the brands, that's not how that works anymore. They're going to make sure you know what their new offerings are through channel partners and communication. Where it still exists are for the small booths, for the people that you don't know about, for the mom and pops. It's going to be a fun week right next to us. Back here, there's some of the kind of the smaller 10 by 10 booths, and maybe during one of the happy hours we'll get to talk to them. But there was a booth next door. It's just called AV Extenders, and when they came to set up, it was obviously a family, a husband, wife, a son, and a daughter. It's just a family business, and this is, you can tell for them, this is an investment. They're in the back row. It's probably one of the least expensive spaces, but at least they're on the show floor, and they're going to get as many contacts as they can. It's those places now where you can find something that you didn't know was going to be there. Somebody who solved an AV problem that you didn't know about, and that's part of the value of being at trade shows like this. The other really cool thing that leads into that is, the tighter networks the higher education community is, the more ability we have to find and share those things. So it's not a matter of someone from every school's got to go around and find stuff. It can just be any one of us. So with the number of publications, word of mouth and other things like that. But, if something is small and cool out there, the AV Super Friends are going to tell you about it, or we're going to get an article up. We're going to do our best to get that information out to people who can't make it, and to get attention on the things that can solve our problems from large booths and small booths. The show floor tours that we've got organized for today and tomorrow hit booths of many sizes, and it's on purpose that way, right? It hits booths that are well-known, American companies, and some that are from Europe, people you might not have seen. So you want to get a good flavor for what's going on. And all of that brings us back to, what is the value of being at a large event like this? And I think the idea of the doubling down on a big event like this as not just a learning and networking opportunity, but the learning and networking opportunity. For a long time, especially in higher ed, you come to InfoComm, but you're one person swimming in a sea of other people, and you might notice another name badge that said education, you might whatever, but there wasn't a lot built for our vertical. It was an industry trade show, and with the rise of the power of end users, both in the industry and at InfoComm, that's changed. So I know, we end up talking a lot about the things that HETMA does at InfoComm, the things that we offer, but it's a very strategic thing. If there's one event that people, like, if your budget allows you to travel to one thing a year, then we need to be able to make that one thing valuable in multiple ways so that you can get your bang for that travel dollar. So we are going to, InfoComm is a good one because, as always, the show floor is free. And if anybody ever pays for a show floor pass, do not ever do that. Every exhibitor has a code for a free show floor pass, right? They don't want to gatekeep the number of people on the show floor. Every eye on the show floor is part of the value that Avixa delivers to exhibitors. So don't ever do that. So at minimum, that's available. And then it's one of the reasons that we've invested so much in the education summit that takes place Monday and Tuesday, so that you can get your RUs. It's worth 12 RUs. So keep in mind, like, if all you do training-wise in 3 years is just plan on being at that summit every year, you will have enough to renew your CTS every time without fail. And so then it's the opportunity to talk about things that really are higher ed centric here at the trade show. And because it's Monday, Tuesday, it doesn't overlap with the show floor being open. There's 22 hours available of show floor time if you are on the show floor every minute that it's open, which would be grueling. And this year, 850 exhibitors. you're never going to see everything. So, well, there are great high quality sessions. I'm doing a panel today, moderating a panel that I'm very excited about, talking about how to do great AV work at small schools. But that hour that people will spend in that session is an hour they don't have available on the show floor. So part of that goal of making, InfoComm Week something that can fill kind of all the three buckets that I think, professionals, technical professionals, managers, leaders, and other things in higher ed AV need is, education with the summit Monday, Tuesday, exposure to the industry or the commerce with availability for all 3 days at the show floor, and then connection with other people where the Hired AV Awards is an event where you can get connected. Oh, and the ticket is included in the price of the summit. And we have the happy hours at our booth every day. And, it's, fun to talk about, the whole thing is, happy hours are just parties or it's nothing. But the reason you do it is it gives a specific place and time to know where the other people are going to be. It's planning a big meetup so that you have the chance to meet people you wouldn't have otherwise, to meet somebody that you talk to and go, oh, you're going to the same thing I'm going to tonight. We can go together, or we can, make a connection with somebody or get introduced to somebody else. And so it's really about, this is weird because there's like people watching me over my shoulder, so I'm not being self-conscious about what I say. But that chance to get that connection so that if you only have the dollars to make one trip in the year, you can get education, you can get your training, you can get your CTSRUs, you can get your industry exposure, you can have FaceTime with the salespeople and still the engineers that they have in these booths to talk about, the underlying technologies that are going into the boxes that people are selling, and so the software packages now, which, more and more of the show floor is starting to look like other places where the marketing is about software platforms and less about hardware as the industry goes that way, and to have the specific opportunities to make connections so that you can fill all three of those buckets in one trip. So that will be my pitch on why, if you've only got money to go to one thing, consider InfoComm. And then I'll add on to that, which is, I haven't talked about it on the show. We'll ramp up with it in the coming month or so. But as I'm transitioning off the board of HETMA, which is a good move, and the new board members are fantastic, highly involved, and working really hard. I'm taking over BC's. Stop making me self-conscious. I'm not used to people watching me while I talk to myself. BC keeps looking at me. It's scary.
I'm going to make it awkward.
Yeah, I'm just going to look at you right in the eye the whole time. Oh, my God. All right. No, so what I'm picking up in its place is taking over as editor-in-chief of Hired AV Media, and which is, of course, where this podcast and a bunch of others are put out, and we have some columns going and that sort of thing, and really developing that platform out as the media side of kind of what HETMA does, and stand on its own to help fill and expand what it can do in bringing information about those three things I just talked about: what's going on in the industry, what's going on with the people of our industry, and getting good information and education out to people that in the long run aren't ever going to be able to make it to things like this, that would really have a hard time doing it. And for all the other times of the year, InfoComm 1 week out of the year, how do we continue that information flow and really develop higher ed AV media out into more of a news gathering organization? InfoComm has been very busy for me the last couple of years as HETMA's really grown and done this. But one of the awesome things is the community's gotten so not just large, but so many people that are highly invested in spending and volunteering their time in it, that it's not the same small group of people that have to organize everything. And that really gives people the chance to focus in on different parts. So next InfoComm for me, I won't be moderating any panels. I won't be doing show floor tours. I won't be doing any of that. My 100% job next time will be to bring content up to Hired AV Media for the people who can't be here. It's about, this is the third year with the booth. HETMA's been around at InfoComm longer than that doing things, but really the third year thinking about our mission at InfoComm as not consumers of what's happening, but producers of what's happening, and having a booth and doing these things. And those experiences are all dialed towards the people who can be here. And they're good experiences. They're good things, and that will continue to be iterated. Well, now we get to branch out and widen that lens and say, no, we can dedicate time and effort specifically for people who can't be here, and so that those of us in the community that can be here can be the eyes and ears of the people who can't be here. And I know I'm talking about that like it's a profound statement, but it's really just about being able to occupy that space that good industry media can and should be. And there are other people out there that cover, trade shows and stuff like this, but to be able to do it through the eyes and ears of your colleagues, through the eyes and ears of people who do the same job, through the eyes and ears of people whose job isn't to be media, whose job is to do great work on campus and provide great audiovisual experiences on their campuses, who also, through that perspective, want to help develop content and develop out the information and bring it out to everybody. So I know this is kind of a little bit of a off the rails, off the topic, and is close to a live episode as we've ever done, because it is Wednesday morning, and without fail, new content comes your way every Wednesday. So I'm going to get this one turned around and posted right away. But in the meantime, just know that InfoComm remains a highly relevant thing, I think, to success in the industry and what we do. It's going to remain the gathering place of the United States pro AV industry. And for all of the good and bad you can say about it, and there's plenty of both of those things, I think the continued growth of focus on the learning part, the connection part, the networking part of it, and not just the commerce of the industry is a good thing for the end user base, or what again, we don't have to do it. I don't consider myself an end user because I'm not. We're an in-house integrator. We fit into that part. But in the industry, this idea of the attention of the buyer at the end of the chain rather than somebody in the middle of it. And as more of us are out and about, we are able to, know what's going on, occupy our space, and not be so dependent on consultants and integrators to drive what's happening, but really drive things ourselves. So with all that said, I hope everybody is having a good week. If you're here at InfoComm, please come by the HETMA booth. A, anytime. B, especially between 2 and 5. And I'll be around between 3 and 5 Wednesday, Thursday, and then 2 and 4 on Friday, when we expect, trying to gather people up for those end of day conversations and have a drink and have a snack and be able to share what's going on. Come see me, come have fun, come get a sticker, come get a swag bag, and have a great week. And if you're at home, stay tuned to keep your eyes on Hired AV Media, as we're going to have some conversations, some of the organic podcasts that you're used to seeing from here. On the Hired AV podcast, you'll see the best of ISE. See, there you go. The best of InfoComm show, as you're used to. There's recordings of AV Life happening, of a lot of the regular shows you're used to seeing from here. And then we're going to have some specials with some of the exhibitors that are here talking about what they're excited about at their booths, with some articles coming along with that as a step for this year. And then in the coming year, please keep your eye on Hired AV Media. That is at hiredav.com for as we continue to build up and build out the content you see there, and make it a place that it is worth your while to check every day, refresh that page every day when you're in the office, so that because you're going to find something valuable there. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for continuing this ride along with what we're trying to do. Looking forward to bringing you more voices of people in the industry in the coming weeks. Preview great episodes coming up from Frank Alimo, which was recorded before we came out of UNLV. And great perspectives in that. And then we have a recording scheduled tomorrow with a special guest, so that will come your way afterwards. So everybody be safe. Have a great week if you're here on site. And if you're not, have a great week on campus. And if you're on vacation this summer, oh my gosh, have a great week on vacation. And with that, I will see you later.